Welcome back to Sports Rock.
Well, rock.
That was Night Moves by Mr. Seeger. Always a classic. We're going to start off by talking about the big release this week, which was Van Halen. Their new album,
Different Kind of Truth.
Different Kind of Truth. What do you think about Mr. 80?
I've heard probably 4 songs off of it, and at this point, excellent. They're pounders. They rock. Jump start that they've needed for a long time because they've been out of the scene for quite a while, and they've had their ups and downs. They're back almost to original. Michael Anthony's not there, but young Wolfgang's taking over on the bass, which is doing an excellent job. Like very much what I've heard off of it so far. Some of the things are new, some of the things are that they had in the vault, which a lot of bands do that they just decided, okay, now's the time to release them, which is awesome. I like it. So far what I've heard off of it, I give it an A.
Mr. Becknell?
I've heard a couple of songs off of it, and it sounds like Van Halen. It sounds like Eddie is on top of his game as far as guitar work is concerned. And they're going out on the road on a 45-day U.S. tour or whatever. And I saw them in 07. I liked them in 07. I think Eddie was probably still maybe a little fucked up. But he can play guitar if he's straight and narrow and he's playing guitar. He can play. And Alex is a pounder on the drums. They're going to be it's a big tour. It's a big tour for them.
I'm hearing that it's going to debut at number 1. It's flying off the shelves. And yeah, I mean it definitely has some Van Halen signatures to it. Like Mr. Becknell said, Eddie shreds on it, and he's got some very signature riffs in it. He's sounding really good, which is always key for Van Halen. He's a very, the sound of that band damn near.
Well, I think Van Halen's sound is a lot, obviously based on Eddie's guitar, but also on Alex's drums.
Yeah.
His drums are very signature sound, I think, for Van Halen.
And Wolfgang's holding his own for sure. The harmonies, not a lot in this new album, but
I saw him in 07, and Wolfgang was on bass and background vocals. I thought he did a pretty admirable job as far as backing. Van Halen's sound was very much the background vocals of Michael Anthony, and I think Wolfgang does an admirable job.
Yep. That tattoo is growing on me. The more I hear that song, the more I like it.
Well, At
first I thought, man, this is way too commercialized, and yeah, it is a little. It is commercialized, but it is definitely still Van Halen. And the more I hear it, the more I like it. And there's some.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on Van Halen when you're talking about a band that hasn't put out a record in
20-some years.
You take away the Gary Sharon record.
Yeah. Mark that down as a mistake.
You're talking about going back to the 80s with Sammy Hagar. Van Halen. It's an important record for them to be noticeable again.
Moving on a little bit, the Madonna halftime show. Thoughts on that, Mr. 80?
Well, Madonna's Madonna. I will guarantee you one thing: it was a whole hell of a lot better than the Black Eyed Peas last year, to say the least. To me, the highlight was CeeLo. I don't even think it was Madonna. I think it was CeeLo. I've heard a little bit of him, but not much. But I think that
he's got a great voice. He does.
Yeah, when he come out there, his voice was so soulful and so powerful. It's like, man, where the hell you been? And I'm sure we'll see more of him since then. But
you can see him on The Voice.
Yes, that's a great show. Do you watch that?
No.
I do.
I will watch America's Got Talent when it comes on because Howard Stern.
Well, that's a totally different subject for a totally different time. But
yeah.
I'm a huge Howard Stern fan. Love him, man. But I think, in all honesty, for all it was, Yes, very good. Everyone's worried about whether music's piped in, lip syncing. I don't care.
And it was.
Like I said, it was a
She
lot.
was definitely not live.
It was a lot better than last year's halftime show, and you know what? Very admirable. Very admirable. Show.
It was more. That show wasn't really more. It was more based on a show, entertainment instead of music. It was very, the Roman soldiers and the wired dancers, bouncing off their crotches and.
Well,
I mean,
Madonna's going to give you a show.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was a
she
show.
showed.
It wasn't really
She
a
showed.
musical performance. It was a show.
My problem wasn't with really Madonna being the halftime show order. My problem was with Madonna. It should have been her. She's big enough. She doesn't need CeeLo Green, MIA,
Nicki Minaj.
She doesn't need that.
LMFAO.
She's big enough
Yeah.
as it is. You didn't see the Who playing halftime or Paul McCartney playing halftime or the Stones playing halftime, bringing on extra people. Madonna doesn't need that. She's big enough. She's a big enough icon in her own right. She doesn't need special guests.
Well, she didn't need special guests. I think maybe she was kind of throwing them a bone, to speak.
Well,
Throwing them a bone,
Well,
giving them a little bit of
MIA
exposure.
threw her finger back.
Yeah, and that wasn't good, and she's going to take a very, very bad repercussion off
well,
of that
aren't they?
one also.
There's going to be a. I know some parenting group has already filed lawsuit against NBC, but didn't they say Madonna's going to have to pay the fine? Because I'm pretty sure they got fined by the FCC.
No, they could have, and she's the one that brought
It was
what,
either her,
MIA or whoever the hell
it was
was
either
on
her or
there,
the
so.
NFL that the NBC said they were going to pass that fine on to. So somebody's going to pay for that. Should be MIA
Well,
pays
the
for it. What an
the
unclassy,
halftime acts
skanky
do
bitch.
not get paid.
Seriously.
The halftime acts do not get paid.
No. But it's got to be somewhere in the contract
They-
that they're
they-
liable for.
Uh,
Because they don't get paid in money, they get paid in the boost in the album sales and ticket sales they receive from performing in front of 130 some million people.
sure.
I
After,
mean,
after that show,
That exposure is incredible.
I think it was the next day or the day after, Madonna released her tour schedule.
Yeah.
She's playing Cleveland. She's coming to Cleveland on November
surprise.
6th or
No.
whatever. It's the first time she's played Cleveland since 1987.
Back when she was hot.
Who's That Girl tour, I think, or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a while since she's played
Pretty
Cleveland.
hot back then.
But
But she's still
no,
doing it now.
the halftime entertainment is not paid, but they are exposed to 150 million people. So if you would sell one record to 75 million of them, you've made pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
well, and it's been known
For a
fact.
15-minute performance.
Well, it's been known fact that a lot of people after the halftime shows, if they perform decently, that their record sales go way up,
Oh, yeah.
especially.
Yep.
But don't you think
Consider
MIA
alcohol,
did it because she wants? I mean,
Notoriety.
You're talking about it right
nobody
now.
was talking about the Madonna performance. They were talking about MIA.
Yes.
And she flipped everything.
And that's
out.
why she did
Well-
it. You bet your ass that's why she did it.
Madonna's pissed at her.
Well,
She should be.
Madonna promised the NFL that she would
Clean
everything
show.
would be
Clean show.
Everything would be upright,
yes, and she
And-
did everything she could to do it.
and they went through the rehearsals and everything was fine, no problems. And then come live, she's flipping people off.
Well, I could.
Like
well,
I said, what a classless, skanky bitch. Seriously.
not Madonna.
MIA. That is so.
No, you got from
unclassy.
Madonna what I would expect from Madonna.
Yeah, she
A-
did.
a-
She
a
did
show-
exactly what
a,
people
a,
expected.
a broad-based show of,
Yes.
of highlights, and though I would have been happier if Madonna probably played a couple of older songs, Borderline, or she didn't do Material Girl or whatever. But that's you only got 12 minutes or whatever. You can only play
Doug Becknell, our in-house Madonna freak.
three. I'm not a big Madonna fan.
Could've
I
fooled
don't
us.
think she should have been in the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She is, but she wasn't a bad halftime show. But she didn't need the extracurricular special guests and stuff like that. She's a big enough star in her own right.
I did like the fact she did Like a Prayer. That's probably the only song that Madonna does that I really like.
Well,
I do like that song.
I'll be
And
honest.
I agree with you. I thought CeeLo sounded great on it.
I think the only person she could have had on there was with the final song that they did was
Yep.
with CeeLo, and other than that, she did not need. Granted, the other additions that she brought in, and quite honestly, yeah, there was something there that made her look bad.
Oh,
MIA comes
absolutely.
out there and flips people off
Yep.
and says bad words. It's like, you can't have that.
MIA should be missing in action.
Well-
She should have been missing in action.
Yeah,
Yes.
that one most definitely. exactly, missing in action because Madonna didn't need that. I think, quite
No,
honestly,
she
I'm
didn't.
not a huge Madonna fan, but she's way more classy.
Madonna.
Oh, absolutely.
You're a Madonna expert.
In-house Madonna.
I'm
freak.
not a Madonna expert.
You talk
She
very
is a-
highly of her.
Well, hey, she is what she is. She's been very successful.
She's
does
done
what
her
she
dues.
does.
She's paid her dues.
I'd rather listen to her than Beyonce.
Yes.
I don't disagree with that.
I'd rather see Beyonce's boobies.
But if you're looking forward at what the NFL should do, my next year's halftime for me, the Eagles.
Yeah. Or we've discussed My Morning Jacket, maybe Coldplay.
Not big enough. Coldplay maybe.
You don't think MMJ is big enough?
Not big enough.
It-
Not
Maybe
what the
that'll make
NFL
them big
should do.
enough.
You know what discourages me more than anything else is the Eagles haven't even been asked to do it, and they are America's band.
I don't know if they were asked or not.
I don't know.
Well,
they do a great halftime.
If they had not been asked, they should be, and if they
Of
were
course, the
asked,
Eagles are going to be in the same situation as the Stones were or the Who were.
Maybe Van Halen.
Is what songs do the Eagles play?
oh, they could take their top hits that everyone
When you've got
knows. and play
12 minutes, 13 minutes,
Can't really do Hotel California because I'll take up half of it,
right?
which is their biggest hit.
Oh, what you need to do
I think come out and
there.
do Long Run, maybe Already Gone, and then close it with one of these nights.
It
That's
can
a
be
little
done.
set for you.
It can be done, and it just disturbs me that that the Eagles. That's as American as it gets.
Yeah.
And I know a few of those are diehard sports fans.
Could you imagine having Eddie Van Halen come out playing Eruption? Hear that guitar light up the very first notes of the Super Bowl halftime show.
Well, Van Halen could be a potential candidate for next year's Super Bowl. I mean, they're going to be on tour this year, and they've got material that could they be considered? Probably. I think the Eagles are a classic band that's never been.
Well, they're confronted.
I
They
don't know if
haven't
they've been
done it.
asked or not. Eagles would be classic,
Yeah, they would. They would.
Well, I think
There's no doubt about
they
that.
could pull
and
that
they'll
off,
put a
no
clean
problem.
show on.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, Don Henley won't let anything else happen.
No, they do it by the books, and I think it'd be
There's not
awesome.
going to be anybody flipping anybody off.
No.
No,
Don Henley would make Joe Walsh tape his fingers together.
I don't think Joe would be doing.
No,
one
Joe.
anyway.
Joe's a very classy guy. Joe would never do anything like that. None of the members of the Eagles would ever do anything like that.
How can
So-
Nab Joe do it?
Yeah,
Ah, there you go.
his new album. That's a good point.
I mean, Joe could do it. He's certainly got enough material, or certainly enough popular songs
Go out there.
that he could play.
Life's
Life's
been
been
good.
good.
Rock
So
and
next
roll.
year is
so
going to be in
far.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
Ordinary
Let some
average.
jazz artists do it. I don't know. What the hell?
They never asked Bob Dylan.
Well, the problem with
I don't know
asking
if
Bob
Bob
Dylan
Dylan
is no one would understand what he was saying. So I think that might be
Yes,
the
sir,
problem.
my friend, wind. Oh, blowing in the wind.
That-
I don't. If
problem.
they asked Bob Dylan, I'm not sure whether he would do it or not.
I don't think he would.
No, I don't think he would.
He just
because
seems like
it's
an
not his-
anti-establishment guy. It doesn't seem like something he'd do. Although the Stones did it.
Well, Stones are not anti-establishment.
No,
by
that's
no
true.
means.
That's
They're
true. And
Like,
they took a knighthood.
Well, no,
No.
it's I would think to me the Eagles are a
perfect fit.
What about John Cougar Mellencamp?
He's done it before.
He's done
Has
it.
he really?
Yeah, John.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
It's
that.
a done deal.
Well, some of those guys did. See, like Phil Collins has done it. Some of those guys did it back.
Really?
Back when you're talking about 15, 20 years ago.
Well, let him do it again.
Some of them. Well, there is talk that they would have U2 come back on
They put on a great
the
album.
50th anniversary,
Okay.
which is this was Super Bowl 46. So you're talking about
4 more years.
U2 would come back. And
They did what 10 years ago? Because they did, yeah,
They did in 2000. They did it
right after September 11th.
Yes.
Yes.
That they would come back and perform because it was, if you want to go back and you want to rate the top halftime performances, U2's performance at that 2001 Super Bowl is top notch.
So was
Hands down.
Springsteen. So was
hands down.
Springsteen.
And Springsteen's was excellent also.
Well, folks, that will do it for the segment 4 of episode 10 of Sprock.
Sprock.